Tottenham get rid of Nuno, and with the next breath, have brought in arguably one of the best managers in the modern game, Antonio Conte. Phenomenal coach. Phenomenal coach. Not only that, very successful. You just got to look at his resume, really. Look at his time at Juve. Start that dominance, that 9 league title streak. He won the first 3, and the rest is history with them. But he's also the guy that ended it. He ended it. He brought the glory days back to Inter Milan by winning the league title last year. Phenomenal. He transformed players like Hakimi and Lukaku. Both who were average players at the time, went on to be probably 2 of the best players in the league. Definitely one of the best defenders in the league and the best striker in the league. Obviously, both have gone on now to different projects. Hakimi's gone up to PSG. Lukaku's gone over to Chelsea. Phenomenal. Do I think Inter will continue that motion? I hope so. But let's not forget his record, really, especially with Chelsea and what he does. He builds teams up. Chelsea, for example, they were 10th. They finished 10th the last time. The last season before he took over. Premier League champions. He took over Premier League champions. FA Cup finalists. If that doesn't scream, a successful manager, a man that knows what to do. He turns average players into good, close to world-class players, really. Take Chelsea, for example, that season. Marcus Alonso. He, probably just about scraped by at Chelsea. Antonio Conte came in, turned him around. World-class defender. World-class. Same with Victor Moses, was out on loan a lot. Probably was on the verge of being sold, after a number of loan moves. Arguably one of the best Chelsea players that season. He was phenomenal. So he has this habit of getting players to play for him and turning average players into very good players or world-class players and turning that into success. He kind of did it with Italy. With Italy when he, after them that few years where they weren't so good after the 2006 World Cup. After that, where they weren't, they failed to qualify at the groups, or Italy, the national side especially, which is, weren't who they were early 2000s, 90s. This dominant force, a team that was actually really scary to play, I guess. He turned them around. He turned them into a more of a solid unit. His World Cup they took them to, finishing it. All right, they got knocked out in the quarterfinals, but they lost to the eventual winners, which is fine. There's nothing to be ashamed about. But I think the question is, will he be a success at Tottenham? And if I'm honest, yeah. I don't see why he can't. Spurs have proven that they can contend for European football, contend for a title. Okay, they bottle it. It's always a bit of a meme when it comes to Tottenham. They've got the players, they've got the quality there. The likes of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, and Dombele. We've got Luis coming towards the end of his career, I guess, and you will probably want to be looking to replace him. But they have quality players throughout that team. And I think one player that I do think will be rejuvenated under Conte is Dele Alli. I think you'll see Dele Alli get more of a important role within the team. I think he'll get his spark back, and yeah, I think we've got to watch Tottenham very closely this season. I feel like Conte's going to use this as a pre-season. He's going to be chopping, changing, finding that right formula for the rest of the season without it being too much of a failure. And then come this time next year, we'll probably see a team that's capable of, one, winning a cup, whether that be the League Cup or or the FA Cup. It doesn't really matter. And potentially a team that could challenge for the title. You know, he's proven it time and time again. You know, did it with Juventus. He's done it with Inter Milan. He's done it with Chelsea. You know, he loves this. He loves, you know, being given the reins, bringing in his own philosophy, getting the players to buy into him, and transforming, if you will, these average players to the next level. And you think a player like Dele Alli, who is, you know, he's a good player. He's not performed very well the past few seasons. And then you've got Harry Kane. You've got Heung-min Son. You've got players like Harry Winks, for example. All these guys are going to be transformed and going to be so vital when it comes to the next season. I just think for Tottenham to push for a title or a cup, all these players will be transformed and they'll be heavily involved in everything that happens at that club from this point on. So do I think he'll be a success? Yeah, I think this appointment will be, it's going to be huge for Tottenham. Do I think he'll stay beyond his 18 months? That remains to be seen, obviously. He's only just been announced. But it'd be interesting to see what happens. I'm happy to see him back in the Prem. I'm happy to see him at Spurs, not really, but that's just me being biased. But that's fine. You know, that's just the way it goes. But yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. If I'm being completely honest, I'm still struggling with it to come to terms with the fact that a manager of this magnitude is at Tottenham. You know, Tottenham, a team that's only won 2 cups in like 30 odd years. You know, they're not a team that's consistent and at that level, same level as Conte. Conte is levels above Tottenham. I think this is the right move to elevate Tottenham, but I don't think it's I think it's the right appointment to bring them to the level of Conte. Now, if they become successful underneath Conte, yeah, okay, cool. Then they've raised the level, and that's great. Well, good for them and their fan base anyway. But yeah, I mean, I also want to say, you know, I do feel sorry a bit for Nuno. Obviously, performances haven't been great. Results haven't been the best. Obviously, they started off well by beating Man City at home, which, you know, is fair enough. But I think the turning point really, not only is the performances, but losing the North London derby to a Arsenal team who were only just like finding form. Yeah, it's always kind of difficult if you're an Arsenal manager or Tottenham manager on losing North London derby, especially when your performances aren't good. You know, you're probably, you know, you're being shown the door not too long after. But yeah, and obviously the weekend's game against Man United, they were just played off the park. You know, there was no shape there. So I think it was just a matter of time, really. But yeah, I don't think Nuno's a bad manager. I don't think he is. I think he's a very, very good manager. Do I think he's at the level of Tottenham? Unfortunately, no. You know, like I said before, like Conte's here, Tottenham here. I think in this case, it's like Tottenham are here, Nuno's here. So it was kind of unfair, and I feel like we all know it was a last minute appointment because they didn't want to they couldn't get Conte in the summer, whether it be his decision or the club's decision, I don't really know, but yeah, I do feel sorry for Nuno, and I think I'd love to see him back in management sooner rather than later in English football, whether that be at Championship level or in the Prem. We'll see. But, you know, a huge congratulations to Tottenham for getting such a high-profile manager, a manager that's a serial winner, that not only that is able to build players back up and transform players' careers, phenomenal. Not many managers can do that. You know, we look at Mourinho, kind of breaks players rather than builds them up. You get a few players that do play well for him. But apart from that, generally speaking, he does break players down. But yeah, And obviously, before I sign off, obviously reports coming out today that Unai Emery, former Arsenal manager and current Villarreal manager, is in the hot in the lead for the Newcastle job, which is bizarre when you think he's currently managing a team in the Champions League, and he's going to leave that to take over Newcastle, who are 19th in the Premier League without a win yet. Obviously, we know the big takeover, blah 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 blah. I'm not going to get into that because it's kind of old news. So obviously the budget's going to be there for him to build a side. Do I think that would be a good appointment? Yeah, I think you can keep them up for sure. I think he's a great manager. He's done phenomenal things at Villarreal. He's very much a Europa League manager as well. I'd love to win that. So that'll be interesting to see. So, but yeah, guys, if you liked the video, liked what I'm saying, yeah, do us a favour, click subscribe, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it a lot. So yeah, until the next time, guys, goodbye.